Imagine a corporate empire so vast, so deeply woven into the fabric of human existence, that it literally powered the modern world. They brought us the light bulb, the jet engine, the MRI machine, and the television broadcasting network that beamed the evening news into our living rooms. At its absolute zenith, this was not just a company. It was the ultimate symbol of American capitalist supremacy, valued at an astronomical $600 billion. To work there was to be part of the elite. To invest in it was considered the safest bet on earth. Yet today, that once untouchable behemoth has essentially ceased to exist. Completely erased from the Dow Jones Industrial Average and fractured into pieces. This isn't just a story about a bad quarter or a shift in consumer trends. This is the story of General Electric and how the greatest corporate empire in American history systematically, stubbornly, and spectacularly destroyed itself from the inside out. To understand the sheer magnitude of this collapse, you have to understand the terrifying heights General Electric reached during the late 20th century. Under the reign of its legendary CEO, Jack Welch, GE transformed from a stable manufacturing giant into a relentless, profit-generating machine. Welch earned the nickname Neutron Jack because he had a reputation for wiping out the employees while leaving the buildings perfectly intact. He instituted a ruthless performance ranking system, firing the bottom 10% of his workforce every single year, regardless of the circumstances. But Wall Street absolutely worshipped him. Welch delivered consistent, almost magical earnings growth, quarter after quarter, year after year. The secret engine behind this miraculous growth wasn't just building better jet engines or washing machines. It was something far more opaque and infinitely more dangerous. It was GE Capital. What started as a modest financial wing, designed to help consumers buy household appliances on credit, secretly morphed into one of the largest shadow banks on the entire planet. GE Capital began financing everything under the sun: real estate, aircraft leasing, subprime mortgages, and credit cards. By the turn of the millennium, this financial division was generating more than half of the entire company's immense profits. GE was no longer just an industrial powerhouse that made things. It was a massive, highly leveraged hedge fund that just happened to own a few factories on the side. They were borrowing billions at incredibly low interest rates, thanks to their pristine AAA credit rating, and lending it out at massive margins. It was an intoxicating loop of endless money, masking the fact that the actual industrial core of the business was slowly rotting away. When Jack Welch retired in 2001, he was hailed as the manager of the century, handing the keys of the kingdom over to his successor, Jeff Immelt. But Immelt inherited a ticking time bomb. Just days after he took over, the September 11th attacks occurred, devastating GE's aviation and insurance businesses. This was followed by the dot-com crash, and suddenly, the magical earnings machine started to sputter. But rather than restructuring the company and scaling back the reckless financial risk, Immelt doubled down. He engaged in a frantic, almost desperate shopping spree, buying up companies at the peak of their valuation and selling off legacy assets when they were practically worthless. He sold GE Plastics. He sold NBC Universal. He chased the latest trends, diving headfirst into green energy and digital software platforms, while throwing billions into stock buybacks, just to keep the share price artificially inflated and Wall Street quiet. Then came 2008. The great financial crisis hit, and the dark reality of GE Capital was finally dragged into the blinding light. When global credit markets completely froze, General Electric, the symbol of American stability, suddenly found itself unable to fund its daily operations. They were drowning in toxic debt. The situation was so extraordinarily dire that Immelt had to personally beg Warren Buffett for a $3 billion emergency bailout, and then tap into heavily guaranteed government borrowing just to keep the lights on and avoid total bankruptcy. The impenetrable armor was permanently shattered. Yet, even after coming inches away from total annihilation, the hubris remained. The executive suite in Boston remained insulated in their corporate jets, oblivious to the fact that the foundation was crumbling beneath their feet. In a desperate bid to pivot back to its industrial roots, Immelt made what would become the most disastrous acquisition in corporate history. In 2015, GE purchased the power division of the French conglomerate Alstom for $10 billion. They were betting the entire future of the company on massive coal and gas turbines. But they completely missed the global revolution in renewable energy. Almost immediately after the ink dried on the contract, the demand for fossil fuel turbines plummeted worldwide. The Alstom deal became a financial black hole, burning through billions in cash. The consequences were swift and absolutely devastating. Earnings collapsed. The sacred GE dividend, a payout that generations of retirees had relied on for survival, was violently slashed to a single penny. It was a betrayal that shocked the financial world to its core. The chaos that followed was unprecedented. Jeff Immelt was unceremoniously ousted. His successor, John Flannery, lasted barely a year before the board panicked and fired him too, bringing in an outsider, Larry Culp, to perform emergency triage. What Culp found was a staggering labyrinth of accounting gimmicks, hidden liabilities, and billions in long-term care insurance miscalculations that had been swept under the rug for decades. The culture of never missing an earnings target had bred an environment of institutionalized denial, where bad news was simply not allowed to travel up the corporate ladder. To save whatever was left, Culp had to do the unthinkable. He had to butcher the sacred cow. He began tearing the empire apart, piece by piece, selling off the beloved appliance division, the light bulb business, the locomotive wing, and the biopharma unit. Ultimately, the board made the historic decision to split General Electric into three entirely separate independent companies: healthcare, energy, and aviation. The monolithic conglomerate that Thomas Edison helped birth, the empire that survived 2 world wars and shaped the 20th century, was officially dead. The fall of General Electric serves as the ultimate, chilling masterclass in corporate hubris. It proves that no institution, regardless of its history, its valuation, or its perceived brilliance, is immune to the laws of gravity. They didn't lose to a better competitor. They weren't destroyed by a sudden technological disruption. They were destroyed by a culture of arrogance, an addiction to financial engineering, and a blind devotion to short-term stock prices over long-term reality. The greatest empire in American business history simply rotted from within, leaving behind nothing but the cautionary tale of a titan that forgot how to build things, and instead built its own magnificent tomb.